Hello and welcome back to another episode of Cyber Voices, the official podcast of the Australian Information Security Association, otherwise known as AISA. I'm your host, as always, David Willett, and it is my pleasure to have you with us as we explore the diverse voices of the Australian cyber industry. Welcome back to Cyber Voices, live at Australia's CyberCon here in Melbourne in 2025. I am joined today at the end of the first day, my final guest for the day, by Tony Nicholls, who is the Director of Space, Defence and Intelligence for CGI Australia. Tony, welcome to Cyber Voices.
Thank you for having me.
How's day one of CyberCon been for you?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been busy down at the escape room, which is good, always to see lots of interest. And this is kind of my first CyberCon, so getting a feel of what the atmosphere is here in Melbourne has been lovely.
Oh, first CyberCon. That's exciting.
First CyberCon here, yeah. In the Southern Hemisphere is probably the better way to put it.
Oh, right. Well, first AISA CyberCon.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is it's a very different kind of cyber conference, I find. I mean, you've got the expo hall right outside the podcast booth here, which is, what you're probably used to seeing. I like to think that there's something special and different about our event.
Well, it's a fantastic facility for doing all sorts of conferences here. And I know it's been really busy the last few weeks. So it's been great. Been a great environment. I had some really, really good meetings, had some really good interest, and good to see the kind of balance of people coming through. As a business, we're spread across the whole of the east coast of Australia. Mm-hmm. We're a global company. So the majority of what we've been doing today is reconnecting with the different parts of our business and introducing them to CyberEscape. It's fairly new to us, so it's really new for them. So introducing them to the concept, but at the same time, a lot of the product companies that we work with, bringing them in and seeing where they fit within our ecosystem, which has been really good as well. So we've had some really positive feedback from them. And then the last thing is really testing it with some of the universities and the not-for-profit organizations that we work very closely with. And that's been really good as well. So quite a broad church of people that we've spoken to, but it's been fairly steady flow, to be honest.
So people at home will be listening to this probably a couple of weeks after CyberCon is all done and dusted. But if you were here, or even if you weren't, there is right outside the podcast booth, there is a giant, shipping crate sitting on the ground with your company's logo blasted all over the side of it. And it is a cyber escape room. Tell me a bit about it.
So, cyber escape room for us has been around about 5 years. We started it off in the UK, and it was the product of a grad program that we put together where we pair up our grads and our apprentices to solve problems. And the problem they were given was, how do we raise cyber awareness in the communities for the non-cyber trained people? And they came up with the idea of putting something inside a shipping container, of all things. It was probably one of the further left opportunities that we had. But sure enough, they ran it, and they ran it in the UK for about 3 years. And then we liked the concept, so we decided to build one here in Australia. And we're now in our second year of building it, and the one in the UK is going for 5 years. But the whole concept of it is to gamify cyber awareness to uplift capacity. And people who the people who would pick up a USB stick off the floor and plug it into a PC to look at what's on it is where it's aimed.
Right. So this is sounding less like an incident response cyber tech nerd kind of thing, and more like something that anyone can go and throw themselves into. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we get lots of questions. Who's this aimed at? What age craft? And I think, look, where we are at the minute, I think we're on about 5,000 escapees. The majority of them are probably below the age of 18, because we've done quite a lot of outreach to local and the regional communities to put schools through it. But we can always make it simple enough for most CEOs to get through it. So it's quite good for leadership teams as well.
That's really interesting because I had a totally different idea of what it would be, especially because I had some of the people on my team at work saying that they were signing up to go and do it. I was like, I probably won't go and do that. It's probably too techie for me.
I mean, interestingly, we had one of our competitors came through and they sent their tech team through. I think they were trying to backwards engineer it. It's not the problems are simple because they're not, but they're not technically focused. They're much more user focused. And they came in and they tried to reprogram it and try to do all sorts of things in there. And they ran out of time in the end, so we had to let them out, which was quite satisfying for both us and them, I think.
They tried to reprogram it.
They tried to reprogram parts of the game, which is physically impossible to do. But I think it was overlooking the obvious, if you like, trying to dive too deep.
If anyone out there is a Star Trek fan, that reminds me of Captain Kirk having to reprogram his command test. And trust me, a lot of Star Trek nerds would listen to this podcast. So I can see here as well that, it's a race against the clock to solve real world security challenges. So you've got phishing, social engineering, malware, document handling, and incident response. So, I mean, obviously we don't want to give too much away, right? Because we really want people to experience this. But if you can, maybe give us a bit of an idea of the flavor of, when you walk in that door, what are you going to be confronted with?
Yeah, absolutely. So surprised would be the first one. I mean, I had the joys of living in an ISO container for about 10 years and it didn't look as pretty as that. So it's quite a pleasant environment. It's not a typical shipping container. There have been some modifications to the inside to make it a better environment. The other thing you'd probably notice is a bit like an inverted TARDIS, just to follow the themes of
nerdy
films.
sci-fi stuff. Yeah.
When you go in the back,
reference,
you'll notice the room is much, much smaller than the outside. That might lead to something else. When a set of programs are resolved, you may end up in different rooms with inside there. But the whole point, if you look at the major threats, and this is kind of moving away from, if you think of government protecting everybody in the country by forcing ISP providers to put protection on networks, this is the other way around. So this is how can we get individuals to start protecting themselves from a low level. So the problems that we would have would be going in there are very much scenario based around an office environment where somebody may or may be absent and you need to get access to information and all the telltale signs that people would leave to be able to do that. Then there's a second aspect, as in how, if you're compromised, how might you bring a compromised scenario into your organization? And if you have, what do you do about it? So they're very much a number of scenarios within there. We can tune the game. So if we've got somebody that's in there that's doing particularly well, then we can make it harder. We can make it a lot harder. And at the same time, if somebody's struggling, then we can make it simpler and reduce the complexity of the programs. The aim being that everybody comes out feeling positive and then reflects on what they've done and walks away. And that's the beauty of where it is. I mean, everybody that we have out of there, no matter where they've come from, be it schools to the head of the National Cyber Capability and senior military officers, they've all kind of come out with a smile on their face, feeling it was good value.
Saying like they had fun.
Yeah.
I think that's really important because I think that speaks to some of the key messages that a lot of us are faced with when trying to teach cyber awareness in our organizations, is trying to remove that element of shame or fear from it. It's like, there's no like win or lose here. If you don't do as well on a particular challenge, that's okay. We don't want you to come out feeling like an idiot, basically.
No, I couldn't agree more. Where I was blown away when we first used it, and I mean, it is a big commitment from CGI to put that out as an investment from our perspective, and I had to justify it, and I questioned myself an awful lot when we first did it. One of the first schools we went to, we did it as part of a cyber immersion day where we had a number of other agencies there promoting cybersecurity to a number of schools. So we brought in 10 schools from all over the state in South Australia to go through it. And there was a young lady that stood up and she was talking to the students about what happens if they do something wrong in cyber world and they're being blackmailed or being pressured to do something about it. And as a parent, I'm sure it's one of your worst fears that you sit down there. And the ability of that, along with what we did in the Cyber Escape, to normalize that if something goes wrong, actually, we now know what to do about it, made me sign it up for another 2 years. So that investment wasn't an option. After that, it was a case of this is the baseline of where we're working from. And it keeps it simple, keeps it easy, engages people. The other thing that was great on that was my daughter was part of going through there. She's 8 years of age. I joke, everything with my daughter is very, very pink from the day she was born, as in she's into dolls. She couldn't care less about anything technical.
Sure.
On half term, she was helping us with it. By the end of that half term, she was playing with Technic Lego. So dad won in that scenario, but it does kind of breed a level of interest in how things work in those that are just really not interested in technical aspects of things, like she's definitely not. So it's multifaceted. It is good fun. It's a safe environment and we keep it safe for everybody, but it's got a lot of kind of positives and ups of where we can do it. I'm looking forward to designing the next one.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how it compares to what people think of as an escape room. Like I'm thinking a bunch of guys on a Bucks night or just a bunch of friends get together, they go have a couple of beers down the pub and then go try, go solve the puzzles and come out hating each other's guts. Is this a similar, is it a team-based kind of thing?
It is, yeah.
all the beers down the pub aside, since you're taking it to schools. But it's team-based, right?
So spot on, yeah. Absolutely teams-based. Carly, our games master, is a gamer. I remember interviewing her, and I've never had questions on an interview sheet coming from where we are before saying, what games consoles do you actively use? And she's got all of them. So Carly's constantly reinventing the games inside it. So we change one game every month, essentially, but it is teams-based. And the last challenge in there to get your final escape requires a significant amount of coordination with people at different areas that regularly tests those as a team. So people could come out from that being quite grumpy.
Yeah. I'll have to meet Carly. I'm a massive gamer myself, but also for someone that works in an industry like this to be able to take that passion and apply it in a practical way that you get paid for.
and look, I mean, I'm not an IT expert. I'm certainly not a gamer, but we work in an area where we need, multiple team dynamics. Carly regularly tests me on seeing the bowl of fruit from the side of the room that she's looking at it from, metaphorically. And having her on the team is fantastic. The diversity that she brings to look at things slightly differently has value across our entire business. So that within itself, to be predominantly a defense part of a business that I run, to bring a gamer in that is not ex-military, and even though we have 50% of my workforce is ex-military, she brings a very, very different perspective, which adds an awful lot of value to the wider team. So very proud of her.
I'm going to say you must have like a whole team dedicated to building and maintaining and running it, right?
So, I really, really wish we did, would be the answer. The thing I say with Cyber Escape is, and again, use other comic references in the environment, it's a bit like Galactica, where it just sucks in all the atmosphere around it and consumes it. Mm-hmm. It's a great piece, and it's really good as an IT company to have something that you can touch, put your finger on, and people can see it. People gravitate toward it and want to be doing something with it, which is fantastic. But ultimately, I need them to be doing their day job sometime.
Of course, yeah.
So we try and get everybody, we use it as an internal tool. We try and get everybody to go through it, keep everybody as part of it, use it as part of people's development. Go out and talk to the environments that you work and breathe in. Mm-hmm. We did Avalon with it this year, so that was where we first kind of unveiled it. It's been at UNSW. It will go to land forces probably next year and a number of other places. So the opportunities for people to get out and just see different types of client is really useful.
Yeah, and I mean, the obvious question for me is, where do you store the bloody thing? It's huge.
Yeah, that's Julia, who is the project manager for it. One of her perpetual questions.
It's in Julia's backyard, is it?
Yeah, that and overhead cables are regular things I get. My risk registers are very different since we've got the Cyber Escape thing. So look, we work really closely with a company in South Australia. They're fantastic at doing our logistics for us. They take ownership of it. They appreciate the software engineers are probably not the best people to site an ISO container. Mm-hmm. But what we try and do is try and work where we can store it and still use it. And then we can run a number of very low key, very cheap to run, essentially, introduction immersion days. So the plan is, hopefully, we're going to store it after this. We go into regional South Australia post here. So it goes there for 2 weeks. And we're going to be north of Mount Gambier for a couple of weeks and work with some of the local communities there. It's then going to go from there, hopefully, back to Lot 14. There's a lot of hopefullys in there because the plans are still being signed off. And then at Lot 14, we'll do a lot of maintenance on it over the summer break. And at the same time, make it available to either industry sponsors who want to help us take it out to rural communities and with specific areas that they're interested in, but at the same time, partners and industry alike to if you like, to put themselves through it as whatever they choose to see fit.
Yeah. I guess a good question to kind of wrap up with, if anyone's listening today who wants to get their organization or their school to go through Cyber Escape, how do they do it?
So look, reach out on the website. If they Google CGI Cyber Escape, it comes up in buckets. The team will get back to you. I've never worked with a team that are enthused by their job as much as the Cyber Escape team are. They're there for it. They want to see it used. And they've got very low barriers to being able to get on it. So if you're interested, reach out. We'll get back to you and do everything we can to kind of work with you on it.
There you go. Well, Cyber Escape, everyone. It's probably one of the most unique forms of education and awareness I think I've ever heard of. And it sounds like a lot of fun. So, Tony, thank you so much for bringing it here to CyberCon and giving our delegates something interesting and new to try. And thanks so much for sharing your voice with us today.
No, brilliant. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Cyber Voices. Our music is by Sonar Garut, our show artwork is by Studio Quarantine, and we record our show at This Is a Studio in Pran, Melbourne, part of Popplant Productions. Please make sure you follow the show on your podcast platform of choice and leave us a 5-star review. This will help others find the show. Also, please follow the association on LinkedIn and Instagram. If you want to add your voice to our ever-growing chorus of diverse cyber voices, have questions, feedback, or would like to be a sponsor, you can do so by emailing us at cybervoices@aisa.org.au. That's cybervoices@aisa.org.au. Are you an ASA member? If not, you should consider joining our network of over 12,000 members across Australia. An ASA membership can open doors, build professional networks, create lifetime friendships, and offer exclusive training, events, and other perks. Become a member today by heading to our website at asa.org.au. That is all for today. I hope you will join us again next time on Cyber Voices.